I started in the early days painting, but as time went on, I started to realize that every painting I started, for instance, a tree, I would start seeing a face. And I would never end up with the subject matter that I started out with, that the painting took me. I wasn't in control of it. What I found about sculpture was that I could nail it down. I don't know which side of the brain works what, but I have a very vivid imagination. So the sculpture was so mathematical, so planned. I could build a model, I could do a sketch, I could nail it down so that I knew where every piece fit. And my work has always been a metamorphic process of a series of shapes derived from minimalism, which as much as I did want to be different than my father, it turns that he was the greatest influence on my work, being an architect and dealing with the cube, which he basically worked with 20-foot cubes. And I saw minimalism happening and realized that I had to take it in another direction, that it had gone as simple as it could go. So I started abstracting it and came up with a series of different ways of I didn't like the square as much as I liked the rectangle, because the rectangle was more elegant. And I put a curve through it, which gave me two shapes, one with the curve, one with the, I don't know, hourglass, half hourglass shape. I could put a triangle in there and come out with the half hourglass shape and a triangular shape. I could go diagonally and come up with two wedges. Now this became an alphabet for me. It's like the language. You invent so many words, these words turn into paragraphs, these paragraphs turn into chapters, which end up in new series. So everything I've done has been one piece has led to the next piece to the next piece. And I was in an atmosphere in California where light and space were really the primary concerns. However, form was still, important factor in sculpture. So that the only thing I could see was abstracting minimalism. So I referred to my work as abstract minimal. And I did that, just as I said, by breaking a rectangle, which I chose instead of a square because of its elegance and its lengthening, and its proportions are a lot more elegant, and creating a language of shapes which, if you were to go back to Egypt, would be like hieroglyphs. You can take these hieroglyphs and you can have them interact in so many different ways, in planes, in columns, in different materials, in floor pieces, in vertical pieces, but they can always be cut and rearranged in different ways by cutting them in half. By using half of that up here and spinning the other half down here, you can cause motion. You can take all these shapes and use them in different proportions in relationship to each other. So it's a vocabulary that's never ending.